Alright, so hello everyone, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to talk about the brand new Disruption game mode. I gave sort of my first impressions of the Disruption game mode in the Update 25 overview, but now that I've had the chance to play with it a little bit more, I want to talk about it a little bit more, because quite frankly, I love this game mode. It is awesome. And it's not just one thing that I like about this game mode in particular, the whole design of it is just fantastic. It's really fun to play. It's pretty impressive, especially considering that this could have very easily just been another mobile defense, kind of like the first iteration of the Thermia Fractures, which were just utterly boring. The Thermia Fractures are apparently much better now, or so I've been told, because I haven't done any of them. I did more than enough of them as far as I'm concerned in the first event. But anyway, back to Disruption. So the things that I really like about this are the fact that you can run this at your own pace, because if you're running solo and you have decent gear, you're going to be doing this about as fast as a regular survival, where you complete one of the rotations every 5 minutes. But if you have a really good group with solid gear, you can fly through the rotations insanely fast. I also like the introduction and focus on Demolists, and I feel they were a major contributor to this feeling completely different from any other game mode in the game. And they also, for me at least, revitalized a part of the game that I didn't give a damn about for a very long time, and that was min-maxing my own gear and bringing the right kind of gear for the right situation outside of the big boss fights like the Eidolons or the big spiders in Orb Vallis. And there are two reasons for this. Number one, the Demolists are pretty beefy, especially as they grow in level, so you need a really strong bursty weapon to actually take them down. And number two, they more often than not just ignore you and go straight for the terminal, so you can't cheese it by essentially being really beefy and standing in their way. Now, I know some of you will be like, what are you talking about? They're not beefy at all, I'm one-shotting them all the time, and I understand that, I can one-shot them most of the time as well, but not everyone is running around with a rivened up Doom Shroom and primed crit mods. And even if you do have a really strong rivened up kit gun with primed crit mods, they can still take a couple of shots because they're much beefier than any other enemy. They're kind of like Eximus units on steroids. And that leads to another pretty cool aspect of this game mode, and it's more noticeable in solo play, but you have to be aware of what's going on around you. You need to have situational awareness, because it's actually relatively easy to go full tunnel vision mode and not notice the Demolists up until the last second, and then realize that you don't actually have enough shots in the magazine and lose a terminal while you're reloading. And while that may feel bad, it feels bad for a good reason, because it was your fault, right? You didn't notice the Demolist soon enough and you didn't have enough ammo to take him out. It's not like survival where you might lose because, well, the enemies just don't drop life support and, yeah, GG. This is something that happens to me in Arbitration Survival quite often. I just lose and it feels bad and it leaves a sour taste in my mouth because there wasn't much I could have done about it. However, if I lose a terminal in Disruption, I'm just like, oh my god, I'm just an absolute condom, and I keep going because of the way they decided to do the failure state in this mission and the reward. So losing one terminal doesn't instantly fail the mission, it just means you get a slightly worse reward. And that's brilliant because finishing the mission is really easy, but getting the best rewards is relatively difficult. It's not like really difficult if you have the gear, but you still have to be aware of what's going on and not get any of the Demolists slip through. And I think that's the perfect way of doing difficulty in this game. Easy to get into, but harder to do it really well. And I think that's because, and bear with me a moment because this might sound a little bit insane, people don't actually want really difficult content. There are of course going to be people that really enjoy that difficulty, but most people are just like, yeah, I do want it, but in reality they actually don't. It's like that with a lot of things actually. There was this study about coffee that I remember reading about where they would ask people what kind of coffee they prefer, and the majority would just go, I like my coffee just black, no sugar, I would ideally like to drink asphalt. But when they later on went to actually buy coffee, unaware that they were still being watched, the majority of people would buy a lighter, milkier, more tasty kind of coffee. And a lot of similar studies came to similar conclusions. There was one about spicy food where people would say, I would ideally want to light a fire in my mouth, and later on when they were given the option, unaware once again that they are being watched, they would go for milder food instead. And once again, I think it's important to note that those studies didn't say that there are no people that enjoy dark coffee or spicy food, and neither am I saying that there are no people that would enjoy really difficult content. What I am saying though is that I believe most people like to sit somewhere in the middle, not too difficult, not too easy. And I think this game mode achieves that perfectly because yeah, you can fail a couple of terminals and it's fine, you're just gonna get a slightly worse reward at the end of the rotation. So even if you don't have the best gear in the world, or you're just not the best player in the world, you can still have fun with it and get something out of it. You're just not gonna get the best rewards, but it's also just not crazy where you fail a terminal, it's like, you failed a mate, you failed, you're banned, make a new account, you pleb. And then, blimey, that went on for quite a while. We have the variety, because while you're generally going to be playing in the same set of tiles and you're going to be fighting the same enemies, the positive and negative modifiers change it up at least a little bit. It's of course not as elaborate as something like the mapping system from Path, where even though you're on the same map, you have different enemies and different modifiers that are applied to the map. It still helps to shake it up a little bit every time. And speaking about enemies, I think the new Amalgam enemies are actually quite cool because, well, they're not obnoxious, which has kind of been like the theme for Corpus for the last, 2 years or so. And it all started with the nullifier. Oh, you like your abilities now, do you? Well, they don't work. Have fun. Then we got the Bursas, because actually being able to destroy the nullifying fields was far too easy, after which we got the combined Scrumpus units, because being able to see the nullifying field was far too mainstream, and it all climaxed with Fortuna, where we got nullifier drones that put nullifying bubbles on absolutely everything around them. And I haven't even mentioned the crowd control, the knockdowns, the staggers. Oh, they haunt me. And while there are some of these aspects with the new enemies, like the Demolish doing a quick nullifying pulse when they get within certain distance of you, they are nowhere near as bad as something like a Combine Scrumbus, the first iteration of a Combine Scrumbus, or that one stupid burst, I don't remember which one it is, that knocks you down for like solid 5 seconds and you're just laying there like, hello? Can I please get back on my feet now? So all in all, I am extremely happy with the new Disruption game mode. It's just well designed and a lot of fun to play. And that is pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm pretty sure I forgot about something, but that's what happens when you don't have a script. Alright, thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, let me know what you think about the Disruption game mode in the comment section down below. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.